Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum everyone. I am Muhammad Ammar. Welcome to another video. Yet we have discussed about all the hormones of invertebrates and vertebrates other than the mammals. And from this video I am going to discuss about the hormones and the endocrine system of the mammals. And the first gland I am going to discuss, that is the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is a small gland that dangles from the base of the brain like a pea on a string. It swings like a pea hanged with the string to the brain. The pituitary gland, it is also known as the hypophysis and located directly below the hypothalamus. It produces its own hormones as well as it receives the hormones coming from the hypothalamus, store them and release when there is need. It has two distinct lobes. The first lobe is the anterior lobes. This is also known as the Adeno Hypothesis. It is front lobe of the pituitary gland. The Adeno Hypothesis or the anterior lobe is larger than the Neuro Hypothesis or the posterior lobe of pituitary gland. It secretes its own hormones. The secretory cells of the Adeno Hypothesis are called pituicytes and are in the Adeno Hypothesis but not in the Neuro Hypothesis, because Neuro Hypothesis do not secrete its own hormone. And the next, that is posterior lobe or the Neuro Hypothesis. The Neuro Hypothesis has a greater supply of nerve endings. The Neuro Hypothesis obtain its hormones from the neurosecretory cells in the hypothalamus, storing them and release them when there is need. So here, this is the Neuro Hypothesis on the right side of the pituitary gland. You can see the Neuro Hypothesis do not produce its own hormone, but it receives the hormones coming from the hypothalamus, and the nerve endings of the hypothalamus open into the Neuro Hypothesis, reaching through the infundibulum. So it stores hormones of hypothalamus and secretes when there is need. And the third lobe is the intermediate lobe. This lobe is not present in humans, birds and cetaceans. Cetaceans are the mammals in aquatic life, such as the dolphin or blue whale, you can say. But it is functional in many vertebrates. Its secretion is MSH, the melanophore stimulating hormone, and in response to external stimuli induce changes in the coloration of the body surface of many animals. This is the thick layer of cells between the anterior and the posterior lobe. Here you can see this is like the dark brown. This is the intermediate lobe of the pituitary gland, a thick layer between anterior lobe and the posterior lobe, but it is absent in case of humans, birds and cetaceans, or it is non-functional, you can say. Now we will discuss the hormones of the pituitary gland. First of all, we will discuss the hormones of Neuro Hypothesis or the posterior lobe. As I have already told you that Neuro Hypothesis do not produce or secrete its own hormones, but it receives the hormones from the hypothalamus, store them and then release. It secretes two hormones, that is the ADH or vasopressin and oxytocin. These both receive from the hypothalamus. The ADH or the antidiuretic hormone. Its target in the body are the kidney or the arterioles. It stimulates water retention by decreasing the urine production. The diuretic hormone increase the production of urine, and antidiuretic hormone decrease the production of urine. Why? Because it have to for the purpose of retention of the water. The amount of the water secreted from the urine have to decrease so we have to save the water. That's why ADH is used to save the water or decrease the amount of water to secrete out in urine. And this is also raise the blood pressure by contracting arterioles. And the next one, that is the oxytocin. The oxytocin is involved in the reproductive behavior of humans, especially in case of females. So when this is involved in the uterine contraction or ejection of milk. It acts on the smooth muscles of uterus and cause it to propel the baby towards the outside. So this is involved in the contraction of the uterus. It contracts the uterine wall and help in the propelling the baby towards out. And then it is ejection of milk. Oxytocin is involved in the ejection of milk for the nourishment of newborn offspring. And the next, that is the Adeno Hypothesis, or the anterior lobe of pituitary gland. This is the true endocrine portion of the pituitary gland and is synthesizes 6 different hormones. This portion synthesizes and secretes its own hormones. These are almost 6 hormones synthesized and secreted by the anterior lobe of pituitary gland, or the Adeno Hypothesis. Number 1, that is the growth hormone, the thyroid stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotrophic hormone, PROLactin, follicle stimulating hormone, and luteinizing hormone. We'll discuss one by one. First of all, the growth hormone. The growth hormone is responsible for the overall growth of the body. It may include the muscle growth, the bones growth, and other organ growth. So it affects the protein, fat, and carbohydrate metabolism for growth purpose. If it is secreted too much or is in excess amount, it causes some disorder, and also its deficiency causes disorder. Its deficiency and its excess amount both causes disorder, and its release is stimulated by GHRF, the growth hormone release factor, and is suppressed by the growth hormone inhibiting factor. The next hormone, that is the thyroid stimulating hormone. It's stimulated by thyroidotropin releasing hormone TRH from the hypothalamus and inhibited by the somatotropin from the hypothalamus. It stimulates the thyroid gland to secrete hormone, that is the thyroxine, and stimulates the growth and activity of the thyroid gland. When too much TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, is secreted, it causes the thyroid gland to enlarge and secrete too much thyroxine. The next hormone that is of the Adeno Hypothesis is ACTH, the adrenocorticotrophic hormone. It's stimulated by corticotropin releasing factor. The ACTH is stimulated by corticotropin releasing hormone from the hypothalamus. ACTH stimulates the adrenal gland or the cortex to secrete a hormone called glucocorticoid. The cortex, the outer part of the adrenal gland. Its secretion is regulated by negative feedback and is suppressed when blood level ACTH raises. It means when there is high amount of ACTH, it suppress or decrease production of itself. This is the negative feedback mechanism. The next hormone I am going to discuss is the PROLactin, also known as lactogenic hormone. It is stimulated by PROLactin releasing hormone from the hypothalamus and inhibited by dopamine from the hypothalamus. Its target cells are the mammary glands. It stimulates the production of milk in the breast following pregnancy. First, I have discussed that the oxytocin initiates or stimulates the ejection of milk, but the prolactin stimulates the production of milk. There is confusion between these two hormones. Keep in mind, the oxytocin stimulates the ejection of milk. Ejection is something else, and the production of milk is stimulated by the prolactin hormone. Negative feedback when blood level prolactin increases, and prolactin hypersecretion in males causes erectile dysfunction. The next two hormones that are the gonadotrophin, the luteinizing hormone LH and FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. First of all, the luteinizing hormone LH, it is stimulated by gonadotrophin releasing hormone from the hypothalamus. In male, it stimulates the testes. In males, it stimulates the testes to secrete testosterone, and in females, it releases the ovum from the ovary. After ovulation, that is the release of ovum from the ovary, it stimulates the formation of the corpus luteum in the ovary and secrete hormone, that is the progesterone. And the next hormone, that is the gonadotrophin, is the FSH or the follicle stimulating hormone. In male, it stimulates the production of sperm cells in the testes, and in females, it stimulates the maturation of ovaries, follicle, and secretes estrogen by ovaries. So here it is two functions, that is what is in male and in females. So here it has two functions, that is in males it stimulates production of sperm cells in the testes, and in females it stimulates maturation of ovarian follicle and secrete estrogen by ovaries. So here is the diagram representing all the structure and the functions of the pituitary gland. Here are its parts, its lobes, and this is the hypothalamus, this is the posterior lobe and anterior lobe, and here these are the target organs or the cells of the pituitary gland from where these hormone reaches and perform. Thank you so much guys for watching this video. Subscribe my channel for further videos.